Hello again, everyone. I'm Charles Gross.
And I'm Leslie Hoban Blake.
Welcome to Two on the Aisle. Tonight, we're going to talk about Good Night and Good Luck, the play based on the George Clooney movie of the same name, which it was written and stars George Clooney. I should also mention that Grant Heslov collaborated with George Clooney on the adaptation.
And on the movie, and originally, and they're partners.
Right, and David Cromer directed. And this is a very elaborate production. You have televisions all over. You have a screen where you will see George Clooney, but given that this is a play about a television broadcast, it is very appropriate.
Absolutely.
You also have a live band, which you seldom have in a play.
It's a small band.
It's a small band, but it's got a
platform.
singer.
Yes.
And she sings, hold on.
Well, she's there to cover scene changes, and she sings regular songs, I mean, of the period. She sings songs of the period.
This is Georgia Hers.
It's very good.
And this is the story of Murrow's takedown of the junior senator from Wisconsin, Joe McCarthy. McCarthy rose to power in the 40s and 50s during the Red Scare. He initiated a modern-day witch hunt, accusing people of being communists. He had little proof. He had no proof. It didn't matter. These people were blacklisted. Their lives were ruined. Their careers were ruined.
And he'd hold up a piece of paper and say, I have a list here, and it was blank paper.
And everyone was afraid of him,
Everyone was afraid.
except Murrow. Now, if you are looking to learn a little more about Murrow the man, you're not going to find it here. This is a very bare bones story in that it's entirely about the takedown. If you even see Murrow out of the studio, he's meeting with William Paley, the head of CBS, to discuss this possibility.
He didn't walk out on the street and sing songs or anything, nothing like that.
No, nothing like that. No. It sticks to the point. And I like Clooney's performance very much. Clooney, well, he's a lot more telegenic than Edward R. Murrow was. In fact, in the play, Fred Friendly, his producer, says, you know, Ed, you've got a great face for radio. I should mention Good Night and Good Luck was his sign-off for when he was in England during World War II, and he would do live broadcasts as the Nazis were bombing London, and he retained this for all of his later broadcasts. Also, the interesting thing, when you see Clooney recreating the broadcast, he's looking straight in the camera as a modern newsman would do. But if you go on YouTube and you look at how Murrow did it, he's actually looking at his notes because he did not have a teleprompter.
And also, because in the movie, Clooney was too young, so he got David Strathairn played Murrow, and now he's old enough to play Murrow himself. He's in his 60s, so he felt that it was okay. And it's his stage debut. He never acted on stage before. I think he gets real credit for that, because we also saw Robert Downey Jr. That I think was also his stage debut. And he was good.
That I don't know.
He was good. But the point is that I think Clooney
Well,
is
I think this is
exceptional.
also a much better production.
Well, it's his story. He's lived with this story for 25 years, so it's his story. If he can't do this
it's
story,
Murrow's story, really. But it's told so well, and this is just such a historic event in television, which has always been an interest of mine. So I really had a very good time with this
his
play.
standing up did not come without consequences. He lost that show, but out of it came Harvest of Shame, which is probably one of the all-time great documentaries.
Yes.
I remember seeing it. It was 1967,
Murrow
maybe?
is the goal, or 1964, I think, in the early 60s.
Okay.
By 1967, I think Murrow was actually dead. He did not.
Really?
He did not last at CBS because he was just too stubborn. He had disdain for the sponsors, but he is considered the dean of broadcast journalists.
Well, he was honest, and if you watched him, you watched him because you wanted to know what was happening for real.
At one very potent point in the play, William Paley, who himself was a television legend, he was the head of CBS for many years, he goes to Murrow and he says, newsmen shouldn't be editorializing. What happens when newsmen start editorializing and Edward R. Murrow isn't around to mind the store? And then we see exactly what happens, because we get a quick history of television from Milton Berle to Jerry Springer. And you look today where you have on 60 Minutes, a former Hamas hostage is being asked, do you think they didn't feed you because they didn't have the food? I mean, Leslie Stahl, seriously?
Well, what's his face? The president sued CBS for the way they portrayed him on 60 Minutes. He was answering questions. He made an idiot out of himself, and then he said they did it to him.
Right. I think the closest we have to Edward R. Murrow today is Bill Maher, who ironically is more of a comedian than a journalist.
I like David Muir on Channel 7.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying.
Maybe. There's one point in the play where Murrow says, I'm not a communist or a sympathizer, but I have met with them to discuss it because I think you can have an honest discussion. Maher just went to Trump. He is no fan of Trump by any stretch of the imagination, but he said, look, we had an honest discussion. And he is willing to go out of his stereotype. He's a liberal, but he'll trash liberals as well as conservatives. He's an equal opportunity.
Well, John Oliver will do that,
Well, John Oliver will rant and he'll swear and he'll get his facts all wrong. So I become very disappointed with him. How many playbills would you give this? 1 to 5, 5 being amazing, 1 being...
I would give 7.5 to George Clooney for having the balls, for having the...
You would give 7.5 if George Clooney just came out and read the
That's
phone
right.
book.
If he walked out right now, I'd give him 7.5, whatever. I have 7.5 playbills that I would give them to. But I would definitely give him real props because it's his concept and he blah, blah, blah. But the play itself, I would give it a sturdy 2.5.
Okay. I would stretch it to 4. I was going to say 4, but I could go to 2.5. Also, I really enjoyed what they did.
I did too. And the approach that they took and the way they showed it. And I thought it was very funny. They went into one of Murrow's, what was it called, See It Live? Okay.
See It Live.
And they went to people's houses, and the person's house that he went to was Liberace's.
Right.
And so it was all Murrow could do to keep a straight face, no pun intended.
Right. Well, he could do both sides, but things like Harvest of Shame, which, by the way, you can see on YouTube, and I highly recommend you do.
It was a stunner. It really blew the lid off the entire migrant worker situation. Back then, forget about now, back then.
Yes. So here's to you, Mr. Murrow.
Here's to you, Mr. Murrow. And Mr. Clooney.
And that is our show for this evening. And when you go to the theater, look for Leslie and me, us too.
On the aisle.
Good night and good luck.